Gen Alpha is the first generation in history where most of the generation wishes they were in a different generation.
Chapter 35. Conrad. I would rather have someone shoot me in the head with a nail gun repeated.
My comment sections are filled, and I mean filled, and I mean absolutely bursting with comments saying,
Gen Z, take me away, please. I don't want to be a Gen Alpha. I don't want to be with these skibbity weirdos.
Someone commented that Generation Alpha is an oxymoron, and I'm like, that's smart. And then when Gen Z says, sorry, you can't be transgenerational, Gen Alpha will make TikToks complaining that Gen Z did not accept them and that they have to remain Gen Alpha.
You guys, it literally says you are sus, like the video game sus. Everybody on the video game uses the word sus. And Among Us?
I guess that makes us trans exclusionary radical zoomers. We're the turfs of the generations. We're the TERS. And all these Gen Alphas who want to leave their generation and join Gen Z, it's because they know this is the status of their generation in history class.
I'm a high school history teacher, and we are now 3 weeks into our World War II unit, and I thought I would go over even more things that my students have said. We were watching a video over the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and a student asked me if this was based on a true story. We're just doing fictional stuff in history.
Is this based on a true story? It's history class. I'm just imagining you're in archaeology class, you find a real dinosaur bone, you're like,
excuse me, is this based on Jurassic Park? Is this based on Dragon Tales?
Dragon Tales. Student asked me first thing in class, what war are we learning about? Mind you, again, we are 3 weeks into this unit. I overheard a student say, I thought Hawaii was a part of Japan. And then the student next to them said, why the heck would they bomb themselves? And then the other student said, oh yeah.
Why would they bomb themselves? At least someone in that class is thinking.
We were learning about D-Day, and a student just shouted out, I definitely would have survived D-Day. Another student, when learning about D-Day, said, why can't they just dodge the bullets? It doesn't seem that hard.
Yeah, why didn't JFK just dodge the bullet when he got shot in the face?
Student just straight up said, D-Day is aura. No context. This one's also over the video on Pearl Harbor. Student just said, it's giving Top Gun Maverick.
We're not gonna make it, are we? We being the human race. Well, before we go extinct from stupidity, I've got a huge announcement. I just started a Discord, and I'm gonna be talking about this video, other Gen Alpha videos I'm making next, Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn, with the whole community of people who watch these videos. Also, today is my birthday, so maybe as a birthday gift, I'd love to see you over there and we can chat on Discord. Link in the description. Okay, so you mix the Gen Alpha iPad addiction with AI absolutely destroying education and millennials' gentle parenting, and you get kids who have nothing, no education, no facts, no knowledge, but audacity. This one teacher suspected all her Gen Alpha students were using AI, but had no idea what would happen next.
Today I discovered that a bunch of my students have been using AI to complete my assignments. And I decided to go ahead and address my classes, where I was like, listen, I am aware that many of you guys have been using AI on my assignments. If you take accountability and fess up to using AI before I go and get you, okay, the consequences will be significantly less severe. So of course, what happens? After school, I have 100 kids outside my door ready to tell me that they used AI on their assignments. However, the last person to admit this to me, okay, literally looked me in my eyes and said, Miss, I didn't even do the assignment. But I know that if I would have done the assignment, I would have used AI. So I wanted to apologize for that. Honestly, I think that right there sums up the amount of audacity these children have today.
What kind of Minority Report Gen Alpha classroom is that? That girl is so real for that. Like, she didn't even do the assignment, but she's like, I would have used AI. Like, it's so bad. Gen Alpha's using AI, like, hypothetically now. So Gen Alpha knows how bad Gen Alpha is, which has created this new phenomenon where older people say Gen Alpha starts in 2010, but the Gen Alphas, a lot of whom were born in 2010 and 2011 and don't want to be part of Gen Alpha, say, oh, no, no, no. Gen Alpha starts in 2012. That way they are not part of Gen Alpha. So there's this new phenomenon where you can tell how old someone is based on when they think Gen Alpha started.
You'll take a ride from anyone.
And Gen Alpha is so bold, it's their way or the freeway. Because the Gen Alpha kids have been given iPads with exact technology from such a young age that they're now using it against us. When Gen Alpha gets a haircut, they will ask the barber how long the haircut will take, and the barber, let's say, says 10 minutes. The Gen Alpha will set a timer on their iPad for 10 minutes, and if the haircut isn't over after 10 minutes, they will start attacking the hairdresser.
I just seen a braider talking about how when she's doing Gen Alpha's hair, Gen Alpha asks, how long this finna take you? Then set a timer. Write the time that you actually start in their notes and the time that you actually finish in their notes. And then have a brief discussion with you about that shit, about how it's never finna happen like that ever fucking again.
You know, it's all starting to make sense how President Snow is Gen Alpha, because he is.
I think I'm gonna die in this house.
And so is the girl from The Last of Us.
Meow.
But one feature of Gen Alpha slang that was not prevalent in Gen Z slang, let alone Millennials or Gen X slang, give me a break, is its life cycle. Charlize Theron experienced this when her kids started saying Riz, and she started saying Riz, and then they were like,
You know, Riz has been over for 3 years.
What the hell?
You learn it and then they don't use it anymore. Like Riz, they don't use anymore.
Oh no, Riz is
Done now. You
Riz
can't say
is done.
You can't say Riz. Mom, don't say that. I'm like, okay, you just said it yesterday.
or her kids start saying that her face looks good by saying you should eat your face.
My favorite was the other day. She said, this is what I thought she said. She said, I thought she said, you're eating your face or something. And I was like, what? She's like, that means your face looks good.
But
But it's really.
Wait, you mean like your face ate, or
your face is eating? Yes,
yeah.
And your makeup is eating down.
Okay, so you want your face eating, your makeup eating down, and all the while I am eating despair and gonna kill myself from watching that. Because like these Gen Alphas, they have eyes, right? They're looking at the way all the kids are around them. That's why they're the most critical about what's happening in Gen Alpha. The same way the most hardcore activists for prohibition were people whose lives had been torn apart by alcohol, Gen Alpha kids are the ones who most want to see Gen Alpha living in the real world and having a real childhood because they didn't get to have one. They see posts like these and just wish they had a Gen Z childhood instead of this.
Hey, yo, that's sick!
Jimmy, get your shoes on.
Skibbity dum dum dum, yes, yes.
Jimmy.
Skibbity.
Skibbity.
Bruh.
Your shoes.
Skibbity Ohio Rizzler, Sigma.
Shoes.
What the hell?
And it's obviously the parents who are putting their kids through this fake childhood mirage. And almost everyone gets that. But there are a couple people arguing with me saying this. Although I will say, that cartoon is actually kind of accurate, so, maybe I'll take the criticism. But even scarier, I didn't know these people existed. You will have people defending Gen Alpha saying they're the most well-adjusted, most healthy, most funny people, all while there's an AI Fortnite dance in the background. Wow, that convinced me, guys. Gen Alpha's actually fine. False alarm, false alarm. Gen Alphas are geniuses. Or even crazier is the people who pretend millennials are the best parents in the world. Maybe a couple, even though they've, created Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha will be the best generation to ever live. Why? Because they have us as parents.
And what's scariest about Gen Alpha in schools is teachers thought they knew what they were getting into. They thought it was going to be like Gen Z. But the reason so many teachers are quitting now in unprecedented waves is because of situations like this.
Hey, yeah, this is Mr. Lindsay over at the middle school. I understand that some of my students are going to be visiting the high school today, and they can be a little bit much, so I just wanted to call you and give you a heads up, prepare you a little bit.
Don't worry, Mr. Lindsay. I'm like one of the cooler, younger teachers here on campus, so these Gen Z kids don't scare me.
They don't call them Gen Z anymore. They call them Gen Alpha, and they... Yeah! yeah, skibbity toilet. Bruh, Miss Chella, you've been working on your mewing?
What?
Your mewing? This class is about to be the best, bruh.
What?
Don't be an op, Miss Chella. Don't be an op. What's up, chat? W in the chat for Miss Chella. W in the chat, bruh. Bruh. It's so preppy in here. Miss Chella, you are the preppiest. Bruh. Tried to warn her.
This poor teacher thought she was getting Gen Z kids. This teacher is like if the itsy bitsy spider expected the water spout, but instead of the water spout, the spider was actually in Hiroshima and was like hit with the atomic bomb. Like that's what happened to these teachers, okay? And the millennial parents are right there making all this happen. These parents are writing the craziest emails to their kids' teachers. They're complaining that their teachers are traumatizing their students by giving them math homework.
Hey Jimmy, what was your childhood trauma?
I was beaten and thrown in a gutter in South Central Los Angeles. What about you?
Oh, my teacher asked me what's 4 plus 7.
Yeah, that's much worse, actually.
I was notified by my child that you made them miss lunch in order to do their math homework. This is problematic. You have traumatized my child. I will be reporting you to admin, and I want him removed from your class.
These parents will take any excuse. Like, they would invest in their kid's company to create a solar-powered flashlight. All right, it's not all going well up here for them. Like, these parents would get lunch at Subway and bring their Metro card. Then teachers will get other emails from kids who are way too pacifically concerned about their teacher's life.
My mom saw your video and she's very concerned that you're not going to have enough money or a place to stay. She said that you can't stay on the beach. Her second cousin's uncle lives in Playa del Carmen, and they said that they can come pick you up if you need a place to stay.
I mean, at least the kids care. But these emails are like the craziest I've ever seen.
Hi, Mr. Phillips. My daughter mentioned you're her new teacher. She said you look like someone who still uses DoorDash. Just confirming you've completed college and are not part of a mentorship program. Also, how many years of life experience do you have? Sincerely, Emma's mother.
How much life experience do you have? How do you even begin to answer that?
Oh, only the last few years I got any life experience. The first 20 years I was in a coma. Like, what do you mean, what years count as life experience?
Subject, quick chat. Mr. Phillips, I heard you moved my son's seat for talking. Before we go rearranging furniture...
That's a new classic.
I'd like to understand your reasoning. I coach middle school football, so I know how boys are. Sometimes they need to express themselves. Let me know when you're free. I'm available after 6. This one, actually gold. Subject, quick reminder. Hey, Mr. Phillips. Just wanted to remind you that these are kids, not your college roommates. My son said you told them, guys, lock in. Is that appropriate phrasing? Jordan's mom.
How dare he say lock in? How dare he?
How dare we speak
lock in?
How dare we?
Lock in.
Everybody.
And then when you get home, some Gen Z siblings are trying to hide from their Gen Alpha sisters. It's gotten bad. Because it's not exactly that all of Gen Alpha is just autistic or socially awkward. It's that they've got this weird timbre. They're brash and rude, and when they speak, it's just so off.
Does anyone else realize that middle schoolers are like abnormally weird to talk to? But it's not like y'all are socially awkward. It's like y'all are weird, like Marilyn Manson, serial killer stalker type of vibe. Anytime those Gen Alpha iPad creeper hoodie variants pull up, it just feels like y'all about to do something unconsensually. I can't explain it.
And if Gen Z doesn't set them right, if these videos don't reach Gen Alpha, we're gonna end up with 25-year-olds acting like...
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't...
Cheeto dust all over the iPads is so accurate, and it's already concerning in a 7-year-old. Let's not see it in our 17-year-olds, because Gen Alpha is going to be 17 next year, and then they're going to be 18, and then they're supposed to get a job. Like, they can't all be makeup influencers and Twitch streamers. Or maybe I'm wrong, and the economy is just going to be a bunch of Twitch streamer, Gen Alpha, YouTuber fights.
Miles want to be a streamer.
Like ISO Speed.
No doctors or nothing. All right. Next we have Andre. Andre wants to be NBA YoungBoy.
Yep, that's me.
Oh, like the sport. Okay, so Andre wants to play
the
basketball.
rapper. YoungBoy the rapper. Yeah, you know him.
Okay. He might end up in jail, but you know, it's fine. Just like your father. Luke wants to be a teenager. Luke, that will happen, I promise.
Really?
Next we have look who it is, James. Oh, okay. What am I looking at, James? Okay, James want to be a fire.
Carson that.
Damn it, James.
That is such a crazy list. In other countries, like, kids want to be astronauts or doctors or even, like, president, and now they just want to be TikTok famous. Like, literally, a few days ago, humans went further into space than they ever have before, and they're going to the moon for the first time since the Nixon administration, and, like, no one cares. Like, literally no one's talking about it, including me. I'm gonna stop talking about it now. So now you have these how-to guides going viral, showing millennial and Gen Z parents what not to give their Gen Alpha kids so they don't turn out like Gen Alpha kids. But what they're saying is acceptable and what's not is kind of controversial, because the stuff they're saying is acceptable is still pretty electronic, even if it's from like 2011. Like, I don't know, this is totally the upgrade that this TikToker thinks it is. Like, getting your kids from iPads to, like, DSi, like, it's okay. It's like a small upgrade, like Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1 to Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2, but it's not a huge upgrade like Batman Begins to The Dark Knight, okay? That's what we're going for here. I will say, though, it is good. It's better to have your kids, like, playing Super Mario Bros. By a pretty big margin than, like, going on social media. Not only because there could be so much bad stuff for, like, an 8-year-old to watch, but even if there's not, just the mindless slop, and even, like, the YouTube Kids content that's just, like, colorful gobbledygook is going to rot their minds more than actually, like, trying to rescue Princess Daisy from the castle. Like, here's a Gen Alpha kid living like he's Gen Z with a real DS. You know, don't check your screen. This is a real Gen Alpha kid playing on a DS.
Oh.
Does that warm the very cockles of my heart? Yes, but we can't make the end goal giving the Gen Alphas DSs. We want to give them fully real childhoods, playing outside, playing sports, having friends, talking to people. Because for a little bit longer, Gen Alpha is still in their childhood and doing stupid kid things with their own Gen Alpha flair. And I will say, sometimes, as rarely as you see like a Jewish leader of the KKK or a driving school run by Stevie Wonder, you will see a Gen Alpha kid really cook. And I will admit, this is one of those times.
Gen Alpha finally did something, y'all. They created a word that I think is better than the millennial and Gen Z versions of what it means. The word is choppelganger, which means you look like someone, but like the uglier version. So we used to say like, oh, you're the Walmart version of the choppelganger. Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's amazing.
I am gonna start using choppelganger in every conversation I ever have. Like, it's just so fire. I might start making some enemies. I don't mean to insult anyone if I start calling everybody a choppelganger. But that one fire word does not excuse this whole weird relationship Gen Alpha has with time. Not only are they like buying skincare products and trying to avoid wrinkles when they're in elementary school, but 20 years old used to be like really young. And now Gen Alpha says it's beyond unk status. It's like grand unk status.
Yo, happy birthday, boy.
Happy birthday, bro.
Look at you, young one.
Thank you.
How old are you turning?
20.
Dang, you're young. Wow, you're so young,
What
bro.
a young gentleman.
Thank you, guys.
Freshly in his
Appreciate
20s.
You got your whole life ahead of you, bro.
Such a young boy.
Not even old enough to drink. Happy birthday, Unk. Damn, Unk. Yo, Unk. Hey, Unk, come here. Bro's Unk status.
What? What you mean, Unk? Who's Unk? I'm 20 years old. What do you mean?
Damn. 20 years old? Yeah, you're Unk, bro. Sorry. Sorry, Unk.
Guys, 20 years old is young, bro. What you mean?
Just put the fries in the bag, Unk.
I'm not even old enough to drink.
You an old head now, Unk. Yo, Grams.
But Gen Alpha's also doing some really weird stuff. And look, I'm all for eccentricity. I dressed up for a week as the Doctor from Doctor Who, okay? For like no reason. Like, so I get it. Some of you Gen Alphas, because I know a lot of you are watching, when you're wearing belts with your sweatpants, that just like offends me.
I was talking to this one little boy in particular, and I said, "Hey, are you wearing a belt?" And he said, "Yeah." And I looked at him, and I said, "You're wearing sweatpants?" And his sister from across the room just turns and looks at me, and she says, "He always wears a belt." And just ever since then, I've always noticed that he's worn a belt. Like, it don't matter if it's jeans, shorts, sweatpants, you name it, he wears a belt with it. My favorite outfit so far has been his Minecraft Creeper t-shirt with his basketball shorts, his green Crocs, and his leather belt.
And like, however crazy you think these kids are, they're crazier. These kids act like they're the VP of Goldman Sachs instead of like playing house or Cowboys and Indians or playing with a Frisbee or playing with anything. This kid is trying to lock in. Okay, he's trying to make his bag, he's trying to get his side hustle, he's trying to make it in this world. Only problem, he's 12.
So I'm talking to my little cousin Jackson. I'm just like, hey, how's sports going? Like, you still playing baseball? You still playing football, basketball? Like, what's going on with you? And he says the most insane thing. He goes, no, I don't really got time for sports anymore. Like, I'm really trying to lock in on my future. Locking on your future? I said, you're 12 years old. What kind of future are you talking about? Like, you getting ready for college? Like, what's going on? He says something that surprises me. He goes, college? College is for poor people. I'm not doing that. I said, oh, so you got money now? He's like, yeah, I do, but you don't got to worry about that. Okay. I'm talking to his parents, and they're like, oh, you should come to this event for Jackson soon. Like, he would love it if you're there. Like, he wants all of us to come. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, send me the info. I'd love to go. Couple weeks go by. They send me the info for Jackson. I thought it was me for a sporting event. No, it's for something I would have never expected in a million years. They send me invitation to go to a TED Talk. I'm like, he's doing a TED Talk at 12 years old? Guess so. They give us this random little program that says Jackson, his last name, and then teaching about making money and growing as a financial leader. He got like some suede little shoes on, a Dior jacket. I'm bumping his parents. I'm like, yo, he got some nice clothes on. Did y'all get that for him? They're like, no, like, this is all Jackson. Like, I don't know what's got into him the last year, but like, he's been buying all his own stuff. I'm like, well, you know, that's super expensive, right? They're like, yeah, I don't know. He doesn't tell us what he does. I'm thinking, y'all might want to be a little bit more concerned.
Jackson, what kind of shady side hustles are you running, my guy? That is the most bizarre, discombobulating video I've seen since Harambe died. And this kid is not alone. Like, this is happening to every Gen Alpha.
All of a sudden, his friends come. Why are these 13, 14, 15-year-old kids coming in here, red bottoms on, Burberry, Gucci wallet? I'm like, y'all got a mafia going on? Y'all doing some weird stuff on the low? Y'all selling to high schoolers?
And that explains why they don't pay attention in school. Because they're too busy doing their, secret drug deal side quests, apparently. So teachers are now doing something far worse for Gen Alpha than just having them not learn. They are turning George Washington into AI slop. They are making him into an AI saying 6'7", so Gen Alpha will listen to George Washington. It's so bad. Whatever you're imagining I'm about to show you, it's so much worse.
Bruh, everywhere I go these days, the chat is yelling. 67. 6'7". 6'7" this. 6'7" that. Stop the cap. If you want a number that slays, it's 7'6". Like 1776. That was the real glow up. Whole squad pulled up, declared independence, yeeted King George III straight back across the Atlantic. Sigma arc activated. 6'7" is mid. 7'6", 8", and left no crumbs. You got this 6'7" hand dance going around. Back in my day, we didn't need dances. We had signatures. 56 of them. 5'6". Independence declared. We ain't even scared. So yeah, keep your 6'7" edits, but if you're really about that life, start dropping 17.76 in your videos. Because that's the OG Big W. For real. On my mom. Tito that. See ya. Also, do not look at how old I was when I died.
George, I'm so sorry. America should just end after that. Like, we're not worthy to continue as a country. Just give us over to Canada. But Gen Alpha is rebelling against the worst instincts of the millennials. Like, the millennials, they want to make everything beige and colorless. The Gen Alphas are not having it, okay? Look at this.
I got no love for the fakeness if you wanna play tough.
Because Gen Alpha has no patience for anything. Even if you're trying to help them, they will just walk away rather than spend like 3 cells of brain power on anything.
Can I show you an easier way? If you just take the lid off. Oh, wait, come back.
They are so strong-willed. Like, this kid was scolded by his parents, and then he tries to pout in place for as long as he can until he can't take it anymore and just starts laughing. But again, you can't get mad at the Gen Alphas because it's not their fault. This is what their parents have given them. You know, even when Gen Alphas get so into brain rot, it's like they have their own language. They're still just endearing kids.
Good, see. Delusional, not true. Cap, the greatest. Goat, looking better, leveling up. Someone you love, Pookie. Scary, spooky, suspicious.
It's up to us, Gen Z, to not make the same mistakes and make sure we don't raise our kids like this, or else our kids are gonna be in my YouTube videos where I'm like, guys, what are we doing?
Show off, flexing.
Someone I know in real life told someone else about my Gen Alpha videos, and they were like, wow, like, Casey's really gonna isolate his main demographic. Just a joke. But when non-Gen Alphas try to use Gen Alpha slang, it not only doesn't work and is just so embarrassing, like, the reaction of the Gen Alphas in this video is my reaction.
What's a sigma?
What? Mom, you're acting so Gen Alpha right now. And he was just scooting literally from the end of the platform back to the seat and kept repeating it.
That's really annoying. Negative 5,000 aura points for him. Okay, if you guys had to pick one person from your class, who is the Skibbity Ohio Rizzler of your class?
Leah, definitely.
Eli.
I think I'm going to take up mewing. What do you guys think? Yeah. Also, I think I'm going to start working on my yacht.
But on a deeper level, like, when adults try to pander by using Gen Alpha slang, it implies that Gen Alpha slang is desirable. It implies that the Gen Alpha value system and the Gen Alpha world is what we should all be emulating, and that we all want to be a part of this Gen Alpha cool lingo. Like, if I was a Gen Alpha, I'd be wanting to know what older generations are saying, what real movies are like, because I wouldn't want to be part of the culture that is around me. Older people with real lives should not be, like, trying to become the next Skibbity. Even Gen Alpha knows the fire's coming from inside the house, and they don't want to be there. They want to be Gen Z. And you know, something has substantively changed between the generations, because there was never a call from Gen Z that they wanted to be millennials. Can you imagine that? Gen Alpha is just like Napoleon, remaking the world in their image. They're also over-texting. They think texting is cringe. I remember Zoomers were like, phone calls were cringe, you know, like, why'd you call me, you could just text. Now Gen Alphas say even texting is cringe. What do they do instead? Like, just play charades to convey information? Like, I don't know.
Gen Alpha thinks that texting is cringe. They're over it. The majority of them said they would rather call or FaceTime their friends than send a text. Like, when I talked about texting, they were like, like, it was like I was talking about sending a telegram, all right? And when I asked them why, I was like, so what's the deal with texting? They went into different reasons that just made me feel so optimistic for the future. One of them said that it's so much easier and faster to tell a story or, like, relay humor or gossip even when you can hear tone on the other side of the phone. I was like, yeah, I think the pendulum has swung. I think kids are craving connection over convenience.
Okay, it does give me hope that they're FaceTiming. FaceTiming is never going to be as close to as good as real life, but if you're going to be digital, FaceTiming is as good as it gets. We've looked at a lot of Gen Alpha videos from TikTok, from Instagram, about Gen Alpha, but I have decided to go to the Gen Alpha subreddit, which is just a bastion of illiteracy. I'm kidding, mostly. But what really struck me from going into the mothership of Gen Alpha itself, well, first let me just say, I sort of felt like Gary Vee in this infamous video.
My whole life is about knowing everything about 13-year-olds, but you're in the jungle with them. I have to watch from above.
Thank you, man. You're welcome, bro.
No context can ever save that video.
What are you talking about, dude? Gary V, what's going on? What's cooking? What's the context for this one?
What is that, an R. Kelly lyric?
Would you get out the car, please, mate? Can the guy who knows everything about 13-year-olds please get out
the van?
A van as well. No better motorized vehicle to drop a line like that in. No, I'm just joking. It's Gary V. He's one of the good guys, isn't he? But he just could have worded that better. You know, he could have said, oh, I want to help the youth, not,
you know, I want to watch them from above in the jungle or whatever.
In the Gen Alpha subreddit, one of the most upvoted posts ever in the whole subreddit's history is Gen Alpha lamenting that the best part of their childhood ended with lockdown, and now they've become the iPad kids they were never meant to be.
Couldn't help but fall in love again.
And that makes sense, because the Gen Alphas who are able to plausibly claim that they had a Gen Z childhood are the kids who remember a time before lockdown, before the entire world went digital and everyone was on Zoom meetings. They know they're not where they're supposed to be. And this is why Gen Alpha reminds me of Judas Iscariot from the Bible. After Judas had betrayed Jesus, and Jesus was being beaten and flogged and about to be killed, had Judas gone up to Jesus and repented, Jesus would have forgiven him. And Father Fulton Sheen said, the greatest tragedy about Judas is that he was meant to be Saint Judas. He was meant to be the greatest story of Christ's forgiveness, that even the man who betrayed him was not beneath salvation. But instead, Judas is remembered very differently. And that's how I feel about Gen Alpha. They were meant to be the generation who learned more than anyone who came before them because of the internet, because of their access to books. They were meant to be the greatest generation this world has ever produced. And instead, this is what we've left them, in a pile of ashes. I'm going to talk about this more on our new Discord. Join me at the link in the description.